Hello, Atma here. Haven't been doing as many deck techs for this set, even though I was determined to do more, because every single deck just kind of has vehicles in it or just isn't that great. I've got my Constrictor decks that have vehicles in it, my Temerge deck that's not that good. This has vehicles in it. Spells is a non-vehicles deck that's fine, but I just did a deck tech in the last set for this, and all it did really was add Brawl. This one was okay. It still has vehicles in it. Vehicles. So I was working on some decks that didn't have vehicles, and they were not working. And then I made this deck called Improvise Daily, just to do the tap 100 artifacts daily. Not that I need the coins, but I figured what the hell. Anyways, it started actually winning at rank 40 fairly consistently. And then I saw an article on Channel Fireball that had added Elder Deep-Fiend to it. And it was actually pretty similar to my list. It's not exactly the same. I mean, they're running like 4 causal X returns. Since we only have 1, I decided to just not run it at all because we just can't trigger it enough. But it had a lot of the same stuff that I'm using here. Inventor's Goggles and Implement of Combustion just help you ramp the guys out. Renegade Map too. I wouldn't run Renegade Map except for the fact that I want to find the one swamp. Sometimes you need to get back this Scrapheap Scrounger against Control, and we actually do run one vehicle in this, and that is the Skysovereign. And since the Scrapheap Scrounger pilots the Skysovereign, I thought it was pretty important to be able to get it back. The improvised package is this guy is one of the main threats, 3/3, and this guy puts a bunch of things on the battlefield, a 2/2. But the real thing is that when you have the draws with Inventor's Goggles, those guys just get so obscenely big. Like if you ever go Inventor's Goggles into the 3/3 menace, you just have a 5/9 menace, and it's just really hard for people to kill, especially Harness Lightning type decks. Alchemist Vial obviously wasn't in the standard version, and I was running 4, but I cut a couple of them to put in the Deep-Fiends. It still draws you a card, and it's actually nice against things like Ulamog. You can sacrifice it to make them not attack for a turn, and usually we're fairly aggressive, so it starts happening. Metallic Rebuke, if you're having this many artifacts, you may as well just be able to counterspell their things for 1 mana. It's pretty strong. I actually ran 4, but I cut 1. And I cut 1 for the Whir of Invention. Now, the funny thing about Whir of Invention is this seems so bad. Like, all this ever does, is get Skysovereign. But to me, that means that we have 3 Skysovereigns in the deck. We put so many artifacts out that it really doesn't take too much for us to gum up the board and then tutor for this Skysovereign. And sometimes we can tutor for it and, kill something and block something. It's pretty solid. I think it's worth having in there. Now, if you draw the Skysovereign naturally, that's not the end of the world, but it does make the Whir of Inventions worse. Now you have to tutor for Alchemist Vial to draw a card, or you have to tutor for Scrapheap Scrounger, or even just Inventor's Goggles is fine. 4 mana tutor up Inventor's Goggles at instant speed is not the worst when that's so good with your other guys. But I will say that Whir of Invention is the worst card in the deck. This is kind of a baseline build, so I mean it's quite tuned also, but it's not super tuned. Like there's flexibility. The first thing to go would probably be Whir of Invention, and you can put in like another Metallic Rebuke, or you could put in the 4th Bastion Inventor. The last thing is just Reverse Engineer. I like this card. It draws 3 cards pretty reliably for 2 mana in this deck. Even if it costs 3, it's pretty decent. So this is it. Usually the aggro plan will get them low enough to where they won't be attacking you that well, and this deck surprisingly races okay. And Bastion Inventor is a giant wall. Anytime this is ever a 5/7 with an Inventor's Goggles on, it's very difficult for people to kill. The Goggles in particular with this thing is great because people still occasionally run Languish in their Grixis decks, and getting over Languish with a Hexproof guy is just the end of the game for those types of Grixis control decks. Of course, the last thing is Elder Deep-Fiend, which I did not originally have in it, but if you're getting out these cheap Improvise guys, these expensive Improvise guys for cheap, obviously it's going to play well with Elder Deep-Fiend, and that's just like a 5, it's like a 5 haste damage unblockable when you tap down all their guys. They have to have a pretty strong board state to not take a whole bunch of damage from an Elder Deep-Fiend, so. The mono base, I mean, the deck list will be below, but sometimes it's a little weird because I actually put these Westvale Abbeys in. They've been good. The draws where you have Aether Hub and Westvale Abbey feels awkward, particularly if you've also drawn the Swamp. You almost never want to get the Swamp because you do want to get triple blue for that Whir of Invention, but you'll know it when you want the Swamp because you have the Scrapheap Scroungers, or you're going against Mill and they're milling your Scrapheap Scroungers and you just need to get them back over and over again. So that's pretty much it. This deck actually works, and I'll try and show you it working and play some games. Alright, game 1 with this Improvise deck. Well, I was banned from the Magic Duels subreddit for calling somebody a cocksnake in my post concerning the problem with vehicles in this format. That's unfortunate. But now I'm back making videos. This hand is not good enough. Too many activators, not enough payoffs. No red. This has no act. Oh man, that's just both of those hands were crappy. I can't deny it. Very unfortunate. This is keepable though. Ooh, that's a mightily good draw. This allows us to counterspell next turn. Hopefully he doesn't play something like Topan Freeblade or Consul's Lieutenant. That's the only thing that would be pretty rough right now, because we wouldn't be able to deal with it quickly enough. I did want to speak on my vehicles post. I do think that they need to ban some of these vehicles. They're just too strong. I know you can build decks to beat them, but my problem is that, like, I made Bant Humans, it's a creature deck, so I put vehicles in it. And then I made Black-Green and Jund Winding Constrictor decks, and I put vehicles in them. And then there's Dwarf Vehicles decks. And then there's, Mono-White Humans, and it has vehicles in it. And Green-White Humans has vehicles in it. And Mono-Red Aggro has Smuggler's Copter in it. It's like, when does it end? You can't just have the same thing in every deck. It goes back to Perilous Myr. Anybody that played Perilous Myr when this game first came out, like, it was in every deck. It's too efficient, and it was colorless, and they banned it. They removed it from the game. I think that needs to start happening with vehicles. Like, even the bad vehicles are okay enough. But, I've been trying to make decks that are not vehicle based. This has one vehicle in it. And funnily enough, I had Smuggler's Copters in this deck and I removed them. It was fine, just like it always is, but I'm just trying to do something a little different. If you want to take this base, this soup, and make it into a vehicles deck, you can go right ahead. It's pretty disappointing that this guy had double Tireless Tracker. Tireless Tracker is one of the only cards that can just get bigger than our Goggles dudes. Okay, so let's think here. If I play Maverick Thopterist, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles, or 4 artifacts. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll be able to, yeah, if we play Maverick Thopterist, we'll be able, and he doesn't kill anything, we will be able to Whir of Invention for the Skysovereign next turn, which should kill his thing. Or something more threatening if he happens to play it. Although I can't imagine too many things more threatening than Tireless Tracker. Gideon sometimes. Reverse Engineer, you usually don't want to play for a while. If you end up playing it, it'll feel like a desperate move a lot of the times. Usually you want to do it after you've already played out all your stuff. I pretty much just don't want him to like board wipe us here, because he definitely is in board wipe type colors, but he may not want to give up his Tireless Tracker. In fact, this pause makes me think he's considering board wiping. If he attacks with Tireless Tracker, he's definitely board wiping. It's just a matter of which one it is. Is it Languish? Is it Yahenni's Expertise? Or is it Planar Outburst? If it's Yahenni's Expertise, he may be thinking I can just wait one turn. If it's Languish, he's thinking it might take too long. If it's Planar Outburst, then he's just not going to play anything. In which case, I won't play anything. But I will Whir of Invention. Yeah, this looks like a Planar Outburst play here. Okay, can I equip this and still do what I want? So it costs 2. Equip. One, 2, 3, 4. I can't. Alright. One thing I could do is I could attack with this, let him block, and then just Whir of Invention. Or it might actually be worth it. He's going to Planar Outburst anyway at this point. He may not even block this out of fear unless he's definitely going to board wipe. Okay, that's interesting. Yahenni's. So I kind of suspected that being the case. Considering he didn't block, he wanted to keep his Tireless Tracker. If he plays Liliana off this Yahenni's Expertise, that would be pretty annoying, because he would kill this thing, but he has chosen Lifecrafter's Bestiary, which doesn't seem like something he would play, considering he's played 2 Tireless Trackers and no other creatures, but this feels like a pretty safe attack here. I mean, I probably should reverse engineer first, but I'm stupid sometimes. Yep, didn't matter. This Harness Lightning was a pretty good draw. In fact, both of these things were pretty strong. If he taps out, then this Fumarole kills him. In fact, the Fumarole killed him last turn. Am I just stupid? God, ridiculous. Yeah, mistakes were made. Because he only had one mana open. I'm pretty sure he was just dead. Is what it is. You know, I make mistakes. I only started playing this deck super seriously recently. Gideon, why not? I wish I played perfectly all the time, but when I get on comms, sometimes I do not. Because I'm trying to think of, like, stuff to say besides exactly what I'm doing right at this second. But see you for game 2. Alright, game 2 with blue-red Improvise. This deck is just fun. I mean, the one thing about Improvise is that I knew it had to be at least somewhat viable, because every cost reduction strategy that has ever been introduced into Magic has always been good. So it had to be. It had to be something. It seems better to play Renegade Map, but I always think of the upside. If I draw one of my Artificers, I'd rather have this. So obviously that's terrible. Turn 2 Copter is just turn 2 Copter. And that's just the end of the end of the discussion. It is the same thing. Same annoying garbage every time. I'm going to try and counterspell his thing, because if it's the Weld Fast Engineer, I don't want to deal with it. If he just plays like a 1-drop, it'll be pretty annoying, but I'll still counterspell it. Rhino. Yeah, fuck that too. It's not what I expected, that's for sure. So he's like John Aggro. Okay. If this turn is Weld Fast Engineer, it'll be pretty disappointing, but I would have countered Rhino regardless, but we would just take 5 and that would suck. Right now our draw is weird because we did not get an Artificer yet, but oh god, that is disgusting. That I would have rather killed than this thing. Well, I don't think that our draw is really set up to beat this particular draw of his, but we could do it. If we get a Bastion Inventor off the top, be pretty strong. a Whir of Invention. Can't cast it until next turn. Or we could cast it this turn, but we wouldn't have this artifact, so 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the upside of getting the Skysovereign's too high. We should just probably let him have this energy and hope for the best. He's got a kill spell. Oh, just gets even worse. So next turn we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. We won't even be able to Whir of Invention for it next turn, which is pretty unfortunate. Unless we draw a land. Ugh. That Harness Lightning is actually probably going to end the game because we can't get the Skysovereign and then pilot it and block and all that stuff to kill both of these stupid things. But we still want a Skysovereign off the top. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, he had the absolute best draw ever. He had Harness Lightning, triple vehicle. Oh, we're losing to vehicles. Big shock, guys. Big shock that we're losing to vehicles, right? No wonder I make entire posts about how they should ban vehicles. That gets me a 1-week ban from Reddit because I just say something that has to happen. It has to happen. Like, they're just too strong, man. They're too strong. It's absurd. This was a smart attack by him. Saves his copter, and he gets enough energy to make this a 4/4. Yep. So after this, he'll have a 5/5 Long Tusk Cub capability. We can actually block that if we get Bastion Inventor. Alright, that's not terrible. Seems only logical to just gang block instead of activate the Skysovereign, because if he kills the Maverick Thopterist, then we can get back this Scrapheap Scrounger, and the main thing that we're worried about is the Long Tusk Cub. Alternatively, if he was to just activate the Smuggler's Copter, knowing that he has Unlicensed Disintegration in hand, which he almost assuredly has something, that or another Harness Lightning, that seems like it would spell disaster because it would force our hand with the Skysovereign, and that's what he's doing. So he's basically got exactly what he needs to win. I'm actually not going to activate. I'm just going to take it because we need to draw a Harness Lightning to force his hand here. We got 2 chump blockers for other turns anyway. Blossoming Defense. Is this double Blossoming Defense for the win? Yep. Plus Unlicensed, yeah. See, we didn't have it anyway. Like, there was no way to win. So, see you in game 3 against, hopefully not, like, the nut draw Jund. Alright. Doing another game. I actually lost the last game to Elves, and I refused to post it because, it was infuriating and embarrassing. Actually deleted it. Guy played Lisalana Huntmaster right after I had used my Harness Lightning on something else, and he played like 3 elves every single turn. I double Elder Deep-Fiend to tap down 8 of his 13 elves, and I still couldn't win. Hate this fucking game. And I hate this shit. This is why I made the post, because any deck, elves, constrictor, it doesn't matter what you play. You put Smuggler's Copter in, and on turn 2, you pilot it, and you win the game. And the funny thing is when people leave up mana, especially if it's red, now I don't have red open, so he would do it just because he doesn't assume I have burn. But you just win the game more often than not. You know, and I could, like, fight vehicles, you know, like, anytime you make a post on any forum and you say something like, this should be banned or this is bullshit, everybody just construes that complaining as, quote, whining. Well, it's an actual problem. Is it really still whining if it's an actual huge fucking problem that we have to deal with these vehicles constantly? That we have to play the vehicles constantly? We have to play the vehicles to beat the vehicles? Like, it's actually just gotten out of hand. And I play decks with vehicles, but it's starting to get a little unfun. It really is. So I make a post to whine about it. Everybody gets all fucking pissed. Give me a break, man. I'm merely attempting to enjoy a game that's now difficult to enjoy because Smuggler's Copter and the Aether Sphere Harvester is in every deck. That's how I feel about it. Now I'm whining about being banned, but I don't care because I'm not one of those guys who just white knights and high horses every single forum. I just say what I think, and when people call me out for whining, I call them cock snakes. And then I get banned. But let me ask you this. Clearly, name calling is under the umbrella of verbal abuse. That's true. But does cock snake really, like, isn't it like just joking enough? Isn't it just stupid enough that cock snake isn't really a ban-worthy offense? If he has a shock here, it's going to be so irritating. So irritating. Just really want to kill this thing. Yes. Yes. Bastion Inventor saves the day. Kill this. I would have beat that Elves guy so easily had I just Harness Lightning that Lisalana Huntmaster. But it had been so long since I played against Elves. I just wasn't keyed into that matchup. So I just let him make like 25 Elves. He actually had me dead on board for like 5 turns and didn't swing because he wanted to sit there and protect his Nissa until it ulted. The guy is the actual worst. It just took too long for a video, and it was stupid. So, okay, so this seems like a pump spell. If it's built to smash, I get punished pretty bad. I could wait. I'm actually going to wait and leave up Harness Lightning. Ooh, okay. Okay. So that was the actual worst thing he could have played. I think now I just equip this. And then Harness Lightning this stupid shit. I'll just do it now. I don't want him to have the pump spell and blow me out. But now I can just safely block this thing. You'd have to have way too many pumps. He clearly had a pump though, because he doesn't just snap attack into nothing like that. I would have been fine 2 for wanting him, but I didn't want to. If it was built to smash, I didn't want him to just 1 for 1 my hexproof guy. Since I'm pretty sure he has some kind of +3 pump, I actually... Okay, +4 even. So I might just be dead, because if he has another Exquisite Firecraft or 2 spells or something, I just lose the good old mono red, just like the old days. He paused because he has a burn spell, I believe. Fiery Temper or something. Twin Bolt, maybe. Oh, yep, Fiery Temper. Okay. Okay. Oh, that seems decent. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'm going to attack for 3. Hopefully he doesn't have burn, because I really want to do this War of Invention thing. Hopefully he doesn't have a haste guy either. It's also a little annoying. Okay, sure. Attacks? Nope. I wanted him to attack for sure. How about a creature? Yep. Don't mind if I do. Let's see, if I was to attack with everything, would he have to block with everything? 6, he goes to 11. He has 2 blockers. He can only block one of them. Six, 12. Yeah, I can't do it. Well, I think at this point we just gotta dodge one more thing. One haste guy. One burn spell. One removal. We'll just see. Alright, so it looks like he probably has a pump. +4, +0 and trample, which means we lost the game. But what are you going to do? Oh yeah, we're going to continue playing. Oh god. Stupid. I mean, that's the deck, guys. It's the vehicle-less deck that has one vehicle. And the only reason I won this game was because of a vehicle. And not even the problematic vehicles. Just a vehicle. Maybe we should ban them all. Maybe we should ban them all. See you next time.